Assassin's Creed. One of the biggest and most well-debated franchises in gaming today. It's hard to find such a divided community for a game series like Assassin's Creed. Some say the games are still at their peak, the most recent title still being as good as the first. Sure, you do you. Others follow the most recent game always being the worst until the next title comes out and then promptly change their opinion to match that statement. Some can pinpoint the downfall of the series to a specific title, and others say the series wasn't good after the original game released. I do not agree with that whatsoever. That is wrong. Well, some like me love Assassin's Creed 2. But you can't knock Ubisoft for the leaps and bounds they programmed into these titles. Fluid combat systems that seem awfully familiar. Insane landscapes that even for 2007 look absolutely amazing today. With lighting and weather effects that were absolutely revolutionary for the time. I can't think of any other games in 2007 that gave you this feeling of clouds overcasting like this. The developers really did not have to go this far, and I'm so happy they did. As you guys know, attention to detail is my bread and butter, and say what you want about Ubisoft, they know how to make an actual living, breathing world, even on some very archaic hardware. An in-depth plot filled to the brim with stabby and conspiracy theories. All of this birthed from a Prince of Persia spin-off title. Huh? Yeah, Assassin's Creed was originally going to be a Prince of Persia Assassins. Very creative there, boys. French know their stuff. It's super interesting to me as someone who absolutely loved Prince of Persia Sands of Time way back in, oh dear God, why? Guess I'm officially Unk status now. Life is pain. Seeing some early development footage is kind of crazy to me for this game. Originally, Altair, or just the protag for Assassin's Creed 1, was going to be a female assassin, and to quote the developers, they thought women were too hard to animate. I guess the technology just wasn't there yet. Because as you guys know, this, perfection. Ah, no, maybe they were just lazy. I mean, they reused the same model of two characters in the game and just said they were related. You know, that genetic component that passes through generations. Lip trauma. Which makes sense. My great-grandfather fought in the war, which does explain why I have this gunshot wound in my leg. Also, the sci-fi futuristic side to Assassin's Creed was actually a last-minute addition made right at the end of development, and it was really only put there to justify the game being able to reload a save or respawn your character. You know, the things that are in every video game. It seems silly, but I actually kind of respect them deciding to make such a basic mechanic we all came to know and love have a reason to be in the actual game's story. I don't think anyone tried to do this before Assassin's Creed, so kudos. And for such a last-minute addition, it became the foundation of every single game in the series going forward story-wise. That's kind of cray-cray, right? But the game dropped on the 7th generation of consoles, and honestly, I have such good memories of playing this game. Gonna emphasize the memories part of that statement. Most of that got shattered playing through this again for this video, but we will get to that. Oh boy! Now, I wouldn't say I'm a massive Assassin's Creed fan. I played the games right up to Assassin's Creed 3. You know, the 5th game in the series. Wait, no, that can't be right. Oh, sorry guys. My mistake. I meant the 11th game in the franchise. Whoo! I judged you so poorly, my friend. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Ty, you stopped playing right before the good one. I don't know, man. These games started dropping every single year, and they got bigger and bigger in scope, and it was just too much. After playing Assassin's Creed 3 and not really liking it that much, I never went back to the franchise because it just got too tedious. Maybe if this video does pretty well, I'll make my way all the way up to the funny pirate game. So yeah, reminder, hit the big red button and like the video if you'd like to see me cover the other ass games. So let's strap into the Animus and venture back to 1191 AD and look at the game that started a now 31 title franchise. Holy shit! Again, Mickey, my boy, I'm so sorry. And see if Assassin's Creed 1 was really that good. Okay, so Assassin's Creed opens up with our protagonist, Desmond Miles, a bartender that gets kidnapped by Big Pharma Abstergo. Not like a big pharma, but like Big Pharma. You know what I'm saying? They kidnapped him not for his ability to make a banging pina colada, but because in this universe, genetic memory is OP as fuck. And inside you and me lies our ancestors' entire life story. I really hope this isn't actually a thing because my kids will be sorely disappointed. I mean, all they'll see is this. I do think it's a pretty neat idea, and they do try to ground it in some realism by stating, you know, animals seem to know how to do certain things before they've done them, like fly south in the winter and mate. I didn't know how to do that last one until I went to high school. And even now, I'm not too sure if I do it right. But it does make some sort of sense, and I like that in my video games. Consistency. Oh boy, that's not gonna last long, is it? It makes me think of like my ancestors. Way back in the day, my ancestors were actually blacksmiths in this little old island of Britain. So yeah, it would be cool to look back at that in real time. Anyway, Desmond comes from a group of assassins, and Abstergo wants to find something that group had way back in before toilet paper time. Now, Desmond does know that he does hail from the assassins, but doesn't want anything to do with them, and Abstergo doesn't actually really care, as they just want his genetic memory. And they use this thing called an animus to recount Desmond's ancestor Altair's past till they find a piece of Eden that was lost in that time. Now, the game splits between the Crusade times with Altair and the modern day with Desmond. And man, I'm gonna get this out of the way right now. The modern day parts are boring. The game slows to a crawling halt with these sections. I mean, it's nice to get more context of what's going on and why we're doing things, but man, do they drag this out. Some explanations they really take their sweet time with. It isn't until I'd say probably the last third of Assassin's Creed that we come to find out Abstergo is actually part of a group known as the Templars that have been at war with the assassins since the beginning. But if you're like me and have a massively big, wrinkly brain, you can figure it out right out the gate.
What is it then?
Now that would
Yeah, that's a cool pin you've got there, Doc. Wait, is that the Templar logo? Wait a minute. To be fair, these sections are quite small. The main meat of the dish for this game is Altair's era. So the assassins believe in free will. They fight to ensure that people can make their own choices, even if those choices lead to chaos. Their core creed is nothing is true, everything is permitted. This isn't about anarchy, it's about seeing through lies and choosing one's own path. And this in turn will lead to a world of peace. Dumbing it down a little bit means eliminating tyrants and corrupt figures as a sort of surgical justice, not random killings, but targeted removals, cutting out the cancer before it spreads. The Templars believe in control for the sake of peace. They think that humans are inherently flawed and will always fall into conflict and chaos unless they are guided, so they seek pure control from the shadows. People need to be herded even if they're unaware. The cancer in this aspect is free will as a whole, and that needs to be removed. So they're both seeking this peaceful world, but clash over their opposing idealism, which means they basically go to war with each other, kind of making the whole thing a moot point. You guys need to just like sit down and have a chat, kind of wild. But I find it very interesting, and we'll dive more into that aspect of the story as we progress through Altair's timeline. But speaking of which, back to Altair.
I need money, sir. I'm poor, I'm sick and hungry. I beg of you, sir. I beg of you.
Shut up, bitch!
We start with him on a mission with two brothers, actual brothers, not like brothers of the creed, but I mean, they are brothers of the creed, but they're actually sibling You know what I mean, right? And we learn that Altair is some Giga Chad high-ranking assassin, though a little bit cocky. And honestly, not really that stealthy for an assassin. Oh God, was that a low-profile kill? I feel like everyone knows that man's dead. Altair tries to 1v1 Robert, a high-ranking Templar, and honestly gets skill diffed, which to be fair, is deserved. We kind of just walked up to him and said, yo, we're gonna kill your ass.
Blood.
No!
You know not the things in which you meddle, assassin.
It's not really Blade hidden in the crowd-esque, you know? Guys, his back's turned. Could you help a brother out? Not like an actual sibling brother, but like brother of the... He slaps our Middle Eastern ass, and we run home to tell Al-Mulim, the leader, what transpired and that we were unable to retrieve the piece of Eden. Fortunately, one of the brothers, Malik, lends us a hand and brings the piece of Eden. Unfortunately, he forgot to ask for it back. He also unfortunately lost his brother in the process, and he's not very chill about it.
Because of you! Robert threw me from the room. There was no way back. Nothing I could do. Because you would not heed my warning! All of this could have been avoided! And my brother would still be alive!
Al-Mulim pissed that we broke, honestly, every creed in the process of failing this mission, which is not to kill innocents, to hide in plain sight.
And what is it you want?
Blood. No!
I mean, granted, we are in plain sight. No, this might be a gray area situation. And not to compromise the Brotherhood. And yeah, Altair kind of checked all those off. This guy was really one of the best assassins. Uncle Al gives us an appendectomy and sheds us of all of our gear and rank, making us a filthy casual again. So in order to climb the ranks, we must kill 8 targets on Al-Mulim's kill list. And right there is your video game. That's it. That is the core loop right there. Do the same thing 8 times, credits roll. We just venture across the Holy Land, taking these lads out. So our only bit of gear is the Hidden Blade. And I have to say, when I was younger and even today, I think this piece of kit is so goddamn cool. The gauntlet has a blade hidden inside of it, and it sits so snugly on the assassins that they have to remove their wedding finger for it to slide out Wolverine style. Gotta admit, that's pretty badass. This also means that assassins cannot marry, and it's actually part of their law. They're married to the creed. They can't go seeking that simp lifestyle. It shows that the assassins are insanely loyal to their cause, until AC2, which kind of shits on that, but we'll get to that when we get to that. And now we can finally talk about the gameplay. So Assassin's Creed uses what it coins the puppeteering system. Each button is designed to use part of Altair's body. Head being the Y button on a PlayStation controller, the right and left arm being the corresponding side buttons, square and circle, and X being the legs. This is a neat idea when it actually works. I'm sorry to rag on a game that is likely the senior to most of my viewer base, but it does not work. It's less about inputting the right command, and it's more if Altair just feels like doing what you've told him to do. More often than not, he'll just do whatever he feels like, regardless of what I've pressed. And some of the core gameplay mechanics that we've already got to experience at the start of the game, and which are later mandatory mechanics in the Assassin's Creed franchise, are stripped away from Altair. And I just find this so bizarre. I get what they were trying to do, kind of like a Metroid Samus-esque thing. Have something for you to work towards. Altair gets better and better as you progress. But not only losing all of his weapons, which does make sense, he loses abilities like being able to grab ledges or tackling through a crowd. Like, this is very basic stuff that we do not have access to now. And one of the huge ones is counter moves. Losing all of this stuff in the first assassination target, even though it's the easiest one, almost makes the game near unplayable to me. Fighting without parry is just tedious. It makes every conflict something you just want to run away from. The parkour just feels janky without being able to grab ledges. And I know it was the first title, it needed some TLC, but they had the movement in combat down. Towards the end of the game, it feels like an Assassin's Creed game. The movement and parkour feels a bit more fluid. The combat seems better. It's still not great, but it feels better than it did at the start. They nailed this right out of the gate for this game and then take it away. And I do understand what they were trying to do, but they made the game far worse by taking away some of the core abilities. It should have just been the equipment, in my honest opinion. Sure, I'm spoiled from later titles, and they do learn from this. Going forward, they don't really do this again. The stuff they take away in Assassin's Creed 1, you never lose in later titles. But that doesn't mean I'm going to give it a pass. This ruins my experience. And I don't care what you say. It's my channel. I will bitch about a nearly 20-year-old game if I want to. I don't have much going on in my life, but this makes me feel something. So the core gameplay loop. Altair ventures out to a city on horseback and learn some information by scanning the area on a viewpoint. This will open up some side missions on your mini-map. You have to then go complete these, about 3 each time you want to take out a target, and then you're able to go do an assassination attempt. Rinse and repeat 9 times. Ugh. Now, I get it in the first assassination target, and I thought this was just tutorial. Teach me that, oh, I can learn gossip through the crowds, or I can help other assassins out by collecting flags. What's with this game of flags? But I thought after the first target, I would then be left to just do what I want, and that's not the case. You have to do this every single time, even before the last assassination attempt, hours into the game. It is pure tedious. I don't know what to say. I found it so boring. It doesn't make the game unplayable, but it makes it a slog. I do not remember this game being so boring to get into the assassinations. I'm starting to think nostalgia tinted my memories a bit more than they usually do. The horseback ride into the cities takes far too long. There is just nothing here. Unless you're actually going out of your way for 100% and looking for the million billion flags to complete the collectibles, you just end up running through these sections. There are more lookouts in the overworld for you to synchronize with and enemies to fight, but like I said, the combat at the start especially is funky to say the least, so why would you? Later on, you do get the option to fast travel to these locations, but only once you have traveled to each of them once at least. And God forbid, after an assassination attempt, you do not click to fast travel back to Al Mulim, because if you do this, and I did this, your scholar-looking ass gets to run all the way back to HQ. Ugh. Like I mentioned, my biggest gripe with Assassin's Creed 1 is having to do the lookouts to find missions to progress the story. Now, later games, this makes sense. You open up the world and you can find missions to do or collectibles to find, all optional stuff. That I get. Mandatory missions should always be on the HUD, because doing this outstays its welcome very quickly. There are a lot of viewpoints in each of these cities, and you have no idea which ones you need to climb and sync with to show you the missions you need to do. It's just trial and error until you find the right viewpoint. And you need to find 3 of these missions and complete them before you can actually do an assassination. So you just end up running around the city like a madman, constantly getting spotted by archers and guards, and hearing this sound non-stop. Oh, I swear to God, it's worse than like the one heart sound from Zelda. Oh. Once you're spotted, you have to keep running until the line of sight is dropped, so you can then hide in one of these. I don't know what this is. Like a hut? Why is there a hut on the roof? Why would you put a hut on the roof if they don't want people up on the roof? What? Or you can stay and fight, which, like I've mentioned a few times, is an absolute slog until you unlock parries. But even with all that, the assassinations are far less creative than I remember them being when I was younger. They're far more scripted. Whether you get trapped by your target and then have to fight a group of enemies, or you have to stand in a crowd watching the target boaster about a little bit before you can even attempt the kill. It's just comes across as like the game knows how I'm gonna try and do this, so just do it. Rather than later games and other stealth games where it's all about your creativity and how you want to go about solving a problem. For example, you have to take out this target who's about to execute a bunch of folks, including one of your own, an assassin. While finding information for this target, you find out that there's going to be a bunch of archers there, so me thinking I was being a big brain, decided to take out the archers before I progressed to take out the target, thinking I'll have an easier time. So I did just that, and then realized, oh no, I have to drop down into the crowd to trigger the mission first, and once I did that, everyone I killed respawned. Okay. What a waste of time. I just remember so much more freedom in AC1. So I thought, okay, I'll just go do that again, which I did. And then I didn't realize the lunge assassination from the sky was not in Assassin's Creed 1. I think it was introduced in Assassin's Creed 2. I thought this would be an easy kill. I'd take him out before he even executes one prisoner, but I just ended up jumping over his head. I seem to remember you being able to lunge kill. I might be stupid. Look, I hate being negative Ty on this game and going so hard right out the gate with all of the things I didn't like, but the game instantly just became way less about stealth and creativity and more about busy work and scripted events, and I do not remember that when I was a kid. Which ironically I do find kind of fascinating. Maybe it was me being more creative and accepting when I was a child, you know, before life repeatedly kicked me in the balls for adulthood. But man, this game does not feel like the original title that I played, and it's such a weird feeling to me. Most of the time when I look at games like this on the channel, I'm always quite positive or like, oh, I don't remember that. That was pretty cool. This is the first time where really everything I don't remember is overly negative and there's only a few bits of joy in the title. And that's before we even show off the bugs. My God, Assassin's Creed 1 is a buggy game. And I'm sure you can make the argument that it's the Animus. The Animus is glitching out. Oh no. My God, the game just does not run well.
Go to God!
The Christian king and his army of infidels. They go against the will of God and must be made to pay. Everywhere they ride,
I trust you have recovered the Templar's treasure. When does our work ever go as expected? It's our ability to adapt.
But that's not to say my whole experience was overly negative. There are things I love about AC1. Altair is, well, kind of wooden, to be honest.
You have already broken 2 tenets of our creed. Now you would break the 3rd. Do not compromise the Brotherhood.
I am your superior, in both title and ability. You should know better than to question me.
But he does grow on me as you progress his story. And the story as a whole does keep me engaged. The set pieces, like I said, are absolutely amazing to look at. I'm so impressed they managed to do this on such old hardware, and how many NPCs they can ram into the settings. Again, Ubisoft, not a big fan of your practices, but that's a massive W. I'm impressed. So the first target is a Templar that has a bit of a temper. He kills a civilian in broad daylight in front of everyone for not shipping his weapons on time.
Then you should have kept your mouth shut. No, stop! Stop? I'm just getting started.
No! Stop!
It's pretty gruesome. It really did cement that these guys do need to be crossed off the list, Kill Bill style. Unfortunately, doing that is very easy. The assassination takes literally 5 seconds and that's it. I spent like an hour getting all the information to do this. Bit of a letdown. And Altair and the target have a little conversation where he states his intentions, which I assume everyone around me just lets play out before they decide to chase me out of the city. He doesn't say much. It's just, oh, I'm a cool guy. I just wanted my weapons, whatever. Altair feels like it was a good move wiping him out. But the second target starts to put a bit of doubt in Altair's mind. So this guy is a crazed doctor who looks to be, well, torturing and experimenting on patients. A bad dude for sure. But once you take him out, he does say that he was just trying to help the sick and mentally unwell. Be it in the wrong way, but decent enough intentions.
I must know what will become of my children.
You mean the people made to suffer your cruel experiments? They'll be free now to return to their homes.
Homes? What homes? The sewers? The brothels? The prisons that we dragged them from?
But men and women full grown.
In body, perhaps, but not in mind, which is the very damage I sought to repair.
And this makes Altair a bit confused. This guy thought he was, you know, doing good, trying to help the city out. So why was he a target on Al-Mulim's list? Well, once we cross him off, you start to see these patients that he was quote unquote healing walking around the city, and they are so obnoxious. They will knock you about, they attack civilians, they cause issues all the time. I got so annoyed with them at one point, I just killed one. Doesn't that make me the same as the doctor I just assassinated for being a bad guy? Maybe what he was doing wasn't so bad, and Altair feels the same. And I find that so fascinating. I love that about this game. Sure, some are just straight up bad guys, destroying literature because they don't agree with what they say, or just straight up selling off slaves. Yeah, on paper, these guys are bad, but when you do take them out, they justify it by saying, yeah, I'm selling slaves off, but these are people the city don't want here anymore. Criminals, ladies of the night, even the guy who's just burning books and his own men.
You love your precious writings.
Yes, of course.
Then join them!
Claims that he's just burning the books because they're spreading false truths to people and making people not understand how the world really works. It's great. Honestly, the best part of the game is this. I love that the player and Altair comes to the same realization together. Sure, Templars equal bad, but some of their ideals don't differ too much from what the assassins think. They're both seeking a more peaceful world, but honestly both coming at it in the wrong way. This shakes up Altair's faith, and it's, like I said, great writing. Gameplay wise, each kill will reward Altair with some new equipment and his abilities come back. Thankfully, by target 2 we get the counter, and by the 4th we get the ability to hold a ledge. So the game is actually playable again. I just wish they didn't pad out the game with the lookout sections and the boring mini games you have to complete back to back, and these don't change that much. Sure, they're short, they don't take long at all, but it's such a slog. Later games get crucified for being far more busy work than the original titles, but I don't agree. I think that was baked into the conception of this franchise, and it's far worse in Assassin's Creed 1 than I think in later titles. Anyway, while Altair's killing off people on his kill list, in modern day the assassins are trying to free Desmond, and they fail.
Here, have a listen.
Threat's been neutralized.
Looks like the cavalry won't be coming.
Cool. That was worth distracting me from the actual video game. Back in Altair's time, word of our deeds has spread, and the last couple of targets start to get a little bit spooked at the idea of an assassin. One has a full-on crash out at a scholar for this.
You are mistaken, Master Sibrand. I would never propose violence against any man, and most certainly not against you.
So you say, and yet no one here will vouch for you.
I live a simple life, my lord, as do all men of the cloth. It is not for us to call attention to ourselves.
Perhaps. Or perhaps they do not know you because you are not a man of God, but an assassin!
Never.
You wear the same robes.
If they cover themselves as we do, it is only to instill uncertainty and fear. You must not give in.
Are you calling me a coward? Challenging my authority? Are you perhaps hoping to turn my own knights against me?
No.
Come on, dude. He's like 70 years old. Could you really see him doing hardcore parkour on the rooftops and taking out hundreds of guards with ease? He doesn't even have a weapon. Speaking of which, I'm glad he didn't notice the other guy in a white robe 2 feet away, completely cladded in weapons. Dodged a bullet there. The last target is none other than Robert, but he does use a catfish and suckers us into a trap. Robert, oh my god, you're beautiful. Now, it turns out Robert is running off to get aid from King Richard, so we follow suit. Now, this shouldn't be a problem. The assassins don't really get involved with politics outside of the Holy Land, so King Richard shouldn't really care about us. But some of the 9 people that Al-Mulim sent us to kill were part of his army or his people, as well as the Templars. So Altair kind of goofed up here. Might be, I guess. So we have to go beg this British lad not to curb stomp our entire people, or we're not going to see past the Third Crusade. Before that though, I want to talk about Malik. You know, the guy at the start of the game who can no longer jump rope? Well, as he's not really a good assassin now, he's become one of the heads of the assassin bureaus that we head to at the start of each city. And of course, he hates Altair's guts. But throughout the game, as Altair grows and starts questioning his kills and his own philosophies, he starts to connect with Malik a lot more. And right before the last showdown in the game, they absolutely bro out, and it's a nice moment.
Before I go, there's something I should say.
Be out with it.
I've been a fool.
Normally I'd make no argument, but what is this? What are you talking about?
All this time, I never told you I was sorry. Too damn proud. You lost your arm because of me. Lost Qadar. You had every right to be angry.
I do not accept your apology.
I understand.
No, you don't. I do not accept your apology because you are not the same man who went with me into Solomon's temple. And so you have nothing to apologize for.
Malik.
Perhaps if I had not been so envious of you, I would not have been so careless myself. I'm just as much to blame.
Don't say such things.
We are one. As we share the glory of our victories, so too should we share the pain of our defeat. In this way, we grow closer. We grow stronger.
Thank you, brother.
Now kiss. Honestly, I love this section. It really adds to Altair's character and shows some substantial growth on his end. And it means that Malik can Deus Ex Machina right at the end of the title. We catch up to King Richard and Robert. Richard, of course, being a man of God, decides to leave it up to fate and have us fight to the death, and he'll just side with whoever wins. Okay. We take out Robert, and he lets us know that there is one more Templar that should be on our kill list. That is Al-Mulim, the head of the assassins. Altair doesn't believe it, but Robert convinces him pretty quickly before he draws his final breath that, yeah, Al-Mulim wanted a piece of Eden to control the world as well, just he didn't want to share it with his brothers because he is in fact a Templar. Altair a bit confused, but kind of does believe it because Al-Mulim's kind of been a bit of a dickhead to us in the past, heads back to HQ to find out what the fuck is going on. And it turns out, yeah, Al-Mulim has ensnared the entire Assassin's group and it's up to us to stop him. Now, Al-Mulim's character takes a massive nosedive here for me. Right from the start, he seems like this jaded, battle-worn assassin, you know, big dink energy going on. But here he turns into the classic, hehehe, look at me, I'm evil type of villain, you know? It's just out of nowhere and it kind of shits on his character. Maybe that's the point? I don't know. It feels like the game's wrapping up pretty quickly. Al-Mulim summons all of the targets we had to fight off in the past, who we take out very easily, like way easier than when we took them out originally. And then we fight Al-Mulim, who can just one-hit Altair sometimes. Complete garbage. Oh, I hate you, Dad. Through stages of the boss fight, Al-Mulim will do some information dumping. I do like how they play into the Bible a little bit here, stating that like the seas didn't get parted and water was never turned to wine. It was just someone using a piece of Eden. And all that does is give people illusions and captivates people with those illusions. It's pretty neat, but we defeat him and the piece of Eden shows us where all of its brothers and sisters are. Dear God, look at all the sequels. So this right here is what the Templars were looking for in Desmond's memories, a map to all of the pieces of Eden in the world. For now, that's the end of Altair's story, and we cut back to present day with Abstergo deciding to kill off Desmond now. We don't need him, we've got the information we wanted, but Lucy steps in and convinces them not to do it. Why, you might ask? Well, she has a little secret.
Bryce, I still don't know what these people are planning, but I do know they plan to kill me when they're done. I am screwed, okay? What do you want me to do?
Just try and have a little faith.
You're
a woman. And that's the end of the game. Desmond now has the ability to use eagle vision and can see a bunch of the Ratman scrawlings on the wall. I just realized I didn't actually mention eagle vision in the video. Eagle vision is something that the assassins have where they can just tell targets apart. That's really it. But now Desmond has it in modern day because he used the animus, and apparently it does transfer some skills when you're playing around in it. Well, we'll dive more into that in Assassin's Creed 2. For now, he just has that ability. But you can see a whole lot of conspiracy writings, Illuminati, pyramids, like everything that's been a conspiracy up until 2007 is in this room now. Did anyone else go through a rabbit hole when this game launched like I did? Like going on YouTube back in the day, looking up like, what does it mean? What do the signs mean in Assassin's Creed? It was a great theory time, but that's Assassin's Creed 1 and okay-esque game, but nothing to write home about. I remember having such a better time with this game in memory when I was younger, but now it kind of feels like a proof of concept for what the far superior sequel will build on top of later on with Assassin's Creed 2. Don't get me wrong, AC1 has moments, but the people that claim that this was peak Creed, man, I cannot disagree harder. And those who want a remaster of this title, there's just not enough here to warrant that for me. The game is very short, took me like 5 hours maybe, and it's very basic, you're just doing the same thing over and over again. Sure, I'd like a more stable version of the title, but a full remaster just kind of feels silly to me. But regardless, it was a breakthrough success and sold like over 8 million copies in the first couple of years. Most gamers worth their salt have had a run-in with this franchise. That's how big it's gotten. And sure, it's fallen on hard times now, but I do think it's a series that's going to probably outlast me at this point, especially because I'm old. But it's not really that good. It was okay as a title. I just don't think it deserves the insane praise it gets. And all of those praises, in my honest opinion, should be saved for AC2, Brotherhood, and Revelations, as those three are like my absolute favorite. But I might be wrong on that too. It seems my nostalgia cannot be trusted, especially with this franchise. So if you want to see me cover those games, let me know in the comments, and also tell me your thoughts and opinions on AC1. Like, mine's not lore. Mine didn't even make that much sense. I'm not good at doing these videos. But one of the best parts about making them is that I get to chat with you guys in the comment section after a video launches, so go wild. I'll see you down there. As always, thank you for watching the video, and a special thank you to the guys and gals that support me over on Patreon. I love you all so much, and if you'd also like to support me and get a shout at the end of every single video, hit the link, sign up. Thank you so much, Pitstab, Altair, Chris Spicer, and Critical Quacker. I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, stay safe out there and stay fashionable, gents. Tie out, peace.